Hey everyone, it's Ashley with Modern Gardener, and we wanted to do a video on growing tomatoes. Tomatoes are probably the most popular vegetable grown by gardeners. So we came down to Wasatch Community Gardens Green Team Farm to talk to James Loomis, who's the director here, and Mary Beth Janrick, who is the Community Education Director. In this first video, we meet with James, and he tells us all about choosing starts and getting them in the ground. We go to the nursery, go to the plant sale. What do we look for?
The number one things we want to look for are signs of vigor in the plant. So notice leaf color, a nice dark green, lots of sign of good growth in the center. Notice the stem is upright. And again, we don't want to see roots coming off of the bottom. I think the number one mistake that most people buying tomato starts make is they buy starts that are way too big. This is about as big as I would ever buy. And as you notice, we're already getting roots coming out of the underside, right? This thing's going to start to get root bound. What we definitely don't want to buy, that is such a common mistake, is plants that already have tomatoes on them or plants that are already flowering. That tells us that plant is already past that vigorous stage and it's already trying to fruit. If we're getting something from a nursery or a greenhouse, especially if we're growing starts ourselves or getting them from a friend that maybe grew them inside, we need to make sure that we get these plants kind of acclimated to the intensity that comes with being outside. Often when we're growing plants for starts, they don't get the wind and the intensity of that sun. So what we do is we bring those plants and we slowly acclimate them to the conditions of our garden. Okay. So what you want to do is you're going to do that over 3, 4, 5 days, depending on the weather. So you want to bring them out in an area that gets that morning sun, right? That nice eastern sun, have it be in shade by maybe about 11. And then depending on what your overnight temperatures are, if it's below 50 degrees, you're going to want to bring them in at night. Okay. Bring them back out the next morning and gradually increase the amount of sun that they get every day. And then after that point, plug them in the ground.
Okay, so really quick, the plants that people buy at the plant sale, for example, the Wasatch Community, are they already hardened? Do they need to do that process?
You know, I still recommend it a little bit, but our plants are so vigorous and this greenhouse is so bright and intense that they can achieve that in just a few days. Okay. So, but it never hurts. Plus, you know, I mean, think about this. This is a living being, right? You're going to have a relationship with this. It's going to be growing food for you. You're going to be caring for it. So it's also kind of a bit of a, think of it as a honeymoon period. Think of it as a getting to know you. You know, you're going to take it easy as you take it from where it was, and then it's sitting here in the plant sale, and now it's going to your house. Yeah. Just be cool.
It's your little buddy. So how do you take the tomato plants out of these little containers when you get ready to put them in the ground?
So what I like to do is I will put my fingers over here just to hold that soil, flip it over, give that pot a little squeeze, and now notice this has beautiful roots. The roots are there, but they're not root bound. Notice how I handle just the soil. I don't want to start crushing these delicate hairs around the stem. Okay. All of these little hairs on the tomatoes have the possibility to become future roots. Tomatoes are unique in the fact that we can bury the crown and actually achieve more roots. Anytime we are going deeper, we want to take those leaves off. We don't want to bury those, right? But we don't want to stick them down into cold soil. That now shocks the plant. So a lot of times what we recommend, get a soil thermometer and measure the temperature of that soil and make sure you're getting that at least 65, 70 degrees is even better. Okay. If it's cold down in there, what we then want to do is rather than planting them deep, we will make a trench and lay that tomato in the trench. That still gives us all the potential roots, but keeps it in that warm soil. And that plant will lay down for the first day and then pop right back up. Within hours, often it's popping up.
Oh, that's so cool. What if you don't have a soil thermometer and you don't want to do the trench planting?
Then plant them like anything else. Ta-da.
Just don't
right
like
at that
super
soil
point.
level.
Okay. Yeah. Just not super deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an option. It's a tool you can make use of.
Okay.
But when in doubt, leave it out. It's better to not stress that tomato by getting it cold.
Okay, cool. So how far apart should you plant them?
Depends entirely on the type of tomato that you're planting. Determinate tomatoes, which are tomatoes that just grow and set all their fruit at once, those we plant 18 inches to 2 feet apart. Your
Okay.
indeterminate tomatoes, which are tomatoes that continue to grow their whole lives, setting fruit the whole time, 2 feet to possibly even 2.5 to 3 feet, just to
Okay.
give them ample space. And it's not just for tomatoes. I think as gardeners, a real common mistake that we make, especially when the plants are small, is just trying to cram too many plants in there.
Okay,
And
that's
it can
good
help
to
to
know.
eliminate a lot of disease
Okay.
potential as well.
How much sun should tomatoes be getting?
Tomatoes love the sun.
Okay.
Full sun is often described as at least 4 to 6 hours of sun a day, which actually isn't that much. Most people's yards get more sun
Okay.
than they think. But what I love for my tomatoes and my garden in general is as much of that eastern morning sun, that nice
Nice.
midday sun. And if there's a chance to get them a bit of shade in that hot afternoon sun, that's
Okay.
helpful. Now, that being said, the tomato plant loves sun. The fruits, not so much.
Okay.
So for those who are pruning and training and trellising their tomatoes, it's really important to think of that upper canopy of foliage as kind of an umbrella for the
Oh.
fruits underneath.
Okay.
Light water, but even watering over the
Consistent.
week. Consistent.
Okay.
Yes. If you read most of your descriptions on what vegetables appreciate, and tomatoes are no different, they like moist, well-drained soil. So they don't want to be wet, but they don't want to be drying out. But we do need to be careful, because if we drought stress those tomatoes and then give them a large surge in water, we can often crack those tomato fruits.
Okay.
So my drip runs for about 15 minutes
every morning. And just once 15 minutes during the day?
Yes. When we hit late July through August, I'll often need to increase that to 25 minutes.
Okay.
As the plants now are a lot more mature, they're taking up more water,
yeah.
transpiring that out. They need to consume a little more water.
Gotcha.
But again, everybody's soil is different. You need to know what's your soil type, what's the weather, what are the plants that are in there.
Yeah.
There's no better gauge of that than you being present in your garden, checking that soil
That's cool.
moisture. And I tell you what, when you're the neighbor that has the bomb
Perfect
tomatoes, yeah, guess what? You're the favorite on the block.
Yeah. That's cool. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to watch more Modern Gardener, subscribe to our YouTube channel, turn on notifications, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram.